a bit laggy right now. I don't know why. It's a bit lagging. A bit blurry. Can you see that, Kanji? Isn't it a bit blurry for you?
Um, let's see, our circuit looks fine. Yeah, I think
Okay.
so.
My
I'm just
screen's
gonna pull it up
blurry.
on my screen.
It's a bit blurry to me, but okay. Just quickly go to.
Yeah, slightly.
Hold on a second. Just go quick.
Oh, you know, I need my water. Give me a second.
See if I can. Yeah, it looks very blurry to me. I don't know why. Oh, now it's clear. Now it's clear. Now it's better. Kanji, you here?
Yeah. It's probably just his internet adjusting.
All right. Okay. All right. Cool. Right now it's all good. I think.
Yo.
Let's go, bro. Let's go.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked.
Go round table. Yes. Right. Yo.
Gucci, bro.
What it do? What it do? Let's just go to X and make sure we share everything. You made the tweet, right, Kanji? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How can I forget? Only just now as Kanji reminded me.
What happened?
Sure.
What have you forgotten?
Use my
All right. Live. I'm about to make a
Gucci,
tweet
bro.
as well. I'm gonna use the link to make a tweet. Hold on.
Okay, perfect. I'll just retweet that.
Alright, cool. All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Alive.
Perfect.
I'm now
Perfect.
live.
Hmm.
I've done a bit of tweet as well.
Holy. Perfect. Mm-hmm. Perfect. All right. Shall we? Let's begin.
Yes. Let's cook.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the FPL Roundtable podcast. This is episode 27, and it is the finale of the 24-25 FPL season. I'm your host, Kanji FPL, and I'm joined by my co-host, FPL KAYMAN and FPL Stark. How you guys doing, boys?
I'm good.
Man.
Thank you for asking, Kanji. I had a nice little. Had a nice season. Alhamdulillah. Just trying to take a bit of break from FPL, to be honest. But before we do that, obviously, we need to obviously reflect back on and see how well we did in the season, and end the season with a bang, essentially.
Bro, how you doing, Stark?
I'm scratching my neck for the new season. I'm raring to go.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think we can just do a quick review of how Game Week 38 went. I think we can look at like pros and cons and some of the decisions that we made, how we can improve. I think we can just start with Game Week 38. My team's up there, so I'll just start with myself. I made the transfer of Wissa out for Danny Welbeck. And man, Danny Welbeck, oh, what could have been? Like, I genuinely thought he could have been on for double digits this week. Brighton actually had a penalty, but he just completely missed the match. We had no idea that he wasn't gonna be in the squad. Like, I'm so shocked about that. Stark,
Or
you must feel
someone
the
did.
same way, right?
Someone did. I knew. Stark, mate.
Yeah,
How you
so
You
doing?
knew
I just
you knew that Welbeck was injured and he wasn't going to play, and you didn't tell your fellow podcasters or the people watching. Is that what you're saying?
No, no, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. You're putting words in my
Did
mouth.
you?
I said I prefer Evan Nilsson ahead of Welbeck, and the reason being, I gave a bunch of reasons. Right? I didn't know for sure, but I had my doubts. That's all I'm gonna say. I had my doubts. Okay, that narrative was a narrative. That I'm saying. It was too good to be true. That's all I'm gonna say.
How many points did Evan Nilsson get?
He got more than freaking what's his name, Welbeck, didn't he? Welbeck got 0, and what my boy Evan Nilsson got 2. So at least he
Did he
outscored him.
get? Did he get a return?
He's got 2 points. That's all I know. It's better than 0.
that's big facts, man. But you know what? It was Antoine Semenyo that saved the day. He's been a troll for a lot of FPL managers, returning in a lot of the big games. We kind of knew there was two teams to target going to the final day. Obviously, Arsenal were one, but they didn't actually play their best 11. Um, Liverpool, of course, Salah was chasing the record. But then you had Bournemouth at home to Leicester, and then Brighton away at Spurs. So those two felt like the teams to be targeting at that time. So
You okay, Kanji? No worries.
yeah, sorry. My parents just stepped in there.
No stress, no stress.
Uh, but yeah, we knew to target Bournemouth in the final day or Brighton on the final day, and those kind of did work out. Like Bournemouth scored 2 goals, Brighton scored I think 4. Is that correct on the final day? So like is what it is. It's just that we missed the picks that most people were going for. Even Nilsson's, the Danny Welbecks, they just didn't really return. But overall, for me, I'm happy to end the season on a green arrow. I finished in the top 75K for second chance rank. I basically on like a 1 million climb in the past like 10, 15 weeks. So like I ended the season well. I just dug myself too deep of a hole without Salah in the middle part of the season. But yeah, so I just excited to do this review and like I'm honestly pretty happy with the way that the season ended, so I'm happy going into Game Week 38.
Okay, all right. So I'll go to Stock's team next. Stock obviously made the master plan, convert the whole community to bring in the man, the myth, the legend, aka Welbeck. So Stock, what do you have to say for yourself for starting this narrative?
think he would have cooked if he played, to be fair. It's just unfortunate. I took a hit to bring in Saka because I'm in a head-to-head with my mini league rival for £100. And I knew he would bring in Saka for Palmer, and I had a strong suspicion he'd captain Saka because he didn't own Salah. He couldn't get to Salah realistically. So I didn't own Saka. So my assumption was correct. He did exactly that. So me bringing in Saka was a smart play. It's not the right play from a outside perspective in terms of optimal FPL, but I had to do it for mini league standings and money. So yeah, and Welbeck just unfortunate. I think if he played, he gets a haul. They got a penalty and he scored 4 goals.
I have
I
to
think it's
say,
annoying.
Yeah,
I agree with you
I
guys
think
in that sense. If he played, he does really well, and I think I got lucky. All jokes aside, the fact that he wasn't part of the squad, I think the swing would have been massive. To be honest, I don't know if it would have been massive because he's quite low actually owned because only 5.6% stock. He's not that heavily
the fact
owned.
that with Evan Nilsson blanking, like
Hmm.
I actually benched Rodgers originally, by the way, and I
Yeah,
was correct to do so.
yeah.
He
same.
blanked, even though he scored, and it should have counted. A very controversial goal, by the way. He objectively blanked, and I had him benched, and I had Welbeck, and it's a bit frustrating because 4 goals conceded, striker on pens, 6 shots versus Liverpool in the previous fixture. I think it's ridiculous that we didn't know from a press conference that he was even a doubt. I think that's ludicrous, and I think that's unfair. So yeah,
Yes.
Did you see the Rodgers disallowed goal on the final day? I think the goalie like
Yeah.
kind of saved it, but he wasn't in 100% control of it. And then Rodgers took the ball out of his hands
Hey,
and
hey,
scored it,
hey,
but
hey, that
they
was foul.
disallowed
That's all
it.
I'm
I
gonna
don't know
say.
if you
It's West
saw.
United. That's foul. I don't give a shit what the context is. I don't need to see it. If it's West United, it's whatever the call was, and if it didn't go against United, it's right. I'm joking. I'm joking. But yeah, I look. I don't know. I mean, look. I've watched the goal. What's the controversy again? What do you guys think? What is the controversy exactly?
if you've seen it, you should know.
So you're saying the goal should have
Yeah,
counted, right?
Yeah, 100%.
mm,
Everyone agrees, even officials.
I know everyone agrees, but I think slightly the ball was in his hands. I watched it; it was in his hands, and he did kick it while he was in his hands.
No,
So
no,
at the end of the
no.
day, there's a bit of you know what I'm saying. So I,
Come on, man. Don't be objective here. That should have been a goal.
but yeah. So Stock, you finished on 129K. I think that's a pretty decent, good season. Just
No, that's a
slight.
shit season. Let's have it right. That's a shit season. If I'm doing a podcast and I'm an engaged manager for 38 game weeks, I should be finishing in the top 100K with my eyes closed. So me, I'm not happy with that finish. I think it's quite shit for how much time I put into the game. Yeah, that's just me being honest. I don't need to be sugarcoated. That's a shit finish for me.
There are other content creators who
um,
actually do spend a lot of time and engage. They did finish in the hundreds and 200s and 300s. I can mention quite a few names right now without, I don't want to mention it, but there are really good managers, historically speaking, that have also had a really bad season. So it's not the end of the world. I think it's still a pretty decent season, considering obviously FPO is so competitive now, and we know this, and there's so much variance. So, but I do
there's a
respect the
lot of
fact that you
variance.
hold
Yeah,
yourself, but I do respect the fact that you hold yourself to higher standards. So it's very good and right mentality to have. Moving on to my season, look, I had a phenomenal season. No excuses. To finish top 10K, that's the majority of the content creators' dream and hopes or goal going to more seasons. My goal is going to every season is for me to win. Even though that may be this like that percentage may be really really small, but I go in there to just to try to win with my best of my ability. Whatever comes of it comes of it. Whether I get top 10K, top million, whatever. But I would make the best play that I possibly can, try to win as long as I can. But obviously, ultimately came short. No, short, not even short, but yeah, I fumbled basically, and but I made quite a lot of good decisions throughout the season. But I had a genuine shot to win, which I fumbled, which we'll get into why and whatnot, how we can improve in the future season. My transfer was Evan Wilson. He flopped. I think Kanji were watching that game. You said he missed an open goal, something.
Yeah, so it was a free kick.
Yeah,
Clivert slides it, and then some. I think it was Tavernier. He strikes it. It goes.
yeah.
The goalie palms it, and the rebound goes right to Evan Nilsson. And Evan Nilsson's like he has a chance to score it, and he just puts it off the post, and it goes out. It's
So
like a zero
Ev-
point 0.4, zero point
so,
0.5 xG
so
chance.
shout out to Evan Olsen for costing me top 1K. Thank you very much. And the key highlight is so that fraud is never sniffing my team again. So now I got bad blood against him. So yeah, he's gonna have to do a lot to earn my trust again. So let's talk about that. Blank versus Leicester in the final game week. Yeah, you're not gonna get forgiven so easily from me. I'd say what costed me top 1K ultimately. Is the fact that I picked Ola Aina on my free hit ahead of Munoz, and there was 11-point gap between me getting top 1K finish and not getting it basically. And Munoz got exactly 11 points, and Ola Aina got 0 points in game week 36 free hit. So if I got that one decision right, I would have got top 1K. That's not to say, oh, I'm being handsome merchant. I genuinely was high on Munoz. Just last minute, I made a dumb decision ultimately. But again, we live and we learn. In regards to why I wasn't able to, I guess, really push for even higher rank, I screwed up my chip strategies, which we'll get into. And yeah,
Mm.
overall, just one key thing to mention is that I do believe that I'm the highest in terms of YouTube content creators. I think I'm the highest rank content creator in terms of FPL rank within the YouTube scene. So that's something that I'm obviously proud of. So yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yo, talk to me about Jared Bowen. Like both of you guys owned him, and honestly he tore up the last like 5, 6 weeks of the season for you guys.
But go ahead, bro. You were on him. I mean, I was on him initially, and then I saw him, and then after a wild carded, I didn't pick him on wild card, but then you picked him after that, so you can probably touch on him.
This is a perfect example of learning from your mistakes. So throughout the season, I didn't bring in Cunha early on when they had a block of good fixtures because I doubted Wolves as a team under Gary O'Neill. And I did the exact same thing with Mateta when he started his run. They weren't in the best of form, and I didn't know if he could produce what he did produce essentially, compared to other strikers. So I learnt my lesson. He's a talisman. He's a 20 GA winger in the Premier League consistently for 4 seasons now. If they score one goal, it doesn't matter. It's normally Bowen who gets it. The fixtures were amazing. Two promoted teams and United and Spurs after Europa League. Who's in the pudding? Don't overthink these picks.
Facts, facts. Yeah,
Yeah,
look,
facts, bro. Great.
listen, like for me, people, it was a decision between Mbemo versus Nottingham Forest, or Bowen versus who was it? Who was he playing at the time? It was the Spurs. I can't remember.
I
I
think
think it was
Bowen.
Liverpool. I think it was like Bowen versus Liverpool, and then he had a good run after
No, no,
that.
no, no. Bowen didn't have Liverpool. He had someone else. He had an easy fixture. I remember
Okay.
he had a
Okay.
very easy fixture, and then obviously I picked Bowen because I played the fixture ultimately, and yeah,
I
it
think it
worked in
was
my
Leicester
favor.
or Southampton. No,
Yeah,
it's
it's probably one
Leicester.
of them. Probably
I
is
know
one
he
of
had
them.
Leicester, Spurs, United. Leicester, Spurs, United,
Yeah,
Ipswich was like
that's
4 of his last 5 games or something.
yeah. I think it was Spurs
Mm.
probably, but yeah, ultimately look, it was a good decision, and I think it was one of my best transfers in. But I was on Bowen quite a few times this season, right? I got him for Leicester and Southampton as well. So yeah, look, very good transfer in, bro. He's a talismanic asset. You can't go wrong with this type of assets, bro. 90 minutes, good fixtures. You have to jump on these assets when they have good fixtures. It's one of those ones. It's a no-brainer. Like,
Yes,
yeah, yeah,
it was Southampton, Brighton,
yeah,
Tottenham, United, Forest, Ipswich, and he returned in every single game. 9 points, 10 points, 9 points, 8 points, 8 points, 13 points.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people even consider captaining him. We saw if you're after captain him on the final day. Claire in the chat mentioned she captained him twice as well. Cortex is there. He captained Bowen as well. So
Shout out to
yeah, he
Cortex,
paid a
bro.
lot for a lot of owners. Yeah.
Shout out to Go Team.
While we're
Shout out to
there,
them.
why don't we just give shout out to people in the chat? So we've
Yeah.
got KB in the chat, Bubba Banks is here, Claire is here, Priest Hammer Titan is here, Napsters, Hammers, Cortex. So shout out to everyone. Thank you so much for all your support this season, and hopefully we provide some insights to you on how we can improve, and hopefully it's like relevant for how you can improve as well.
He's Hammer
Yes.
Titans Killer.
Yeah. All right.
Yes.
Moving on to our well, now we're gonna look at our how we started the season. Obviously, we ended the season. You guys seen our ranks and how we ended it, and how you know how we did on after week 38. But this is basically to look back on how we started the season. All three of us. The first team you guys can see is Kanji's team on the left. With
Yeah.
he's got 76 points. So Kanji, you wanna run us through your team for game week 1?
Yeah, you know what? Like I actually when I look back at the team, it's really strong. Like this is hindsight is so 2020. Bro, I was never going to Holland. I not at one point, even when Holland scored 10 goals in 5 weeks, I was not considering going to him.
I
I
don't
don't know
think
how
this
crazy
team
that
is strong.
sounds.
I don't think this team is strong though.
Imagine if I downgraded, like imagine I downgraded Trent or Saliba and took that money and upgraded Bruno to Palmer. Imagine.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
how
yeah,
strong this team could have been. Like, think about it, like, Eze on the season, McNeil until he got injured, like, he ticks along with points, like, oh, man. It
yeah,
is what it is. Hindsight is so 2020. I think that you know what? My biggest problem is spending too much money in defense, and you can see it from game week 1 till the end.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
like, I think, a good lesson. But I honestly don't think the game week 1 team looks too bad. I mean, I have Adam Armstrong in it. I had Dunk. I had Davis. Like, what? Muniz didn't even start games at toward like the middle to the end of the season. So I thought I was, I thought I knew everything, but obviously I didn't. So it
Yeah,
definitely has
K-Man,
some weaknesses in the
Yeah.
overall team.
you put my game week 3 wildcard as opposed to my game week 1 team,
Oh,
but it's
sorry,
fine.
bro. Sorry. Oh, crap. I can fix it. Hold on. I can fix it. Hold on.
No, but it's okay. That's okay. Like the game week 3 wild card is actually
But
really strong. Like
touch on
they're
that while I fix the thing. All right.
My game week 3 wildcard essentially took me from like the hundreds of K to 15K by game week 7 because I quickly realized that Haaland wasn't justifying his no. I realized that the freemium draft in midfield would be more value for money along with enablers like Rodgers and Semenyo as opposed to owning Haaland. So yeah, but then in game week 8, I think I brought Haaland in when his form dipped and I removed Salah to get Haaland. So that swing in points, it's not just 12 points, it's 24 because if you don't own Salah and everyone's captaining him, you're just getting dunked on every game week. What a skill issue,
mm,
man.
I'm not gonna lie.
If I
So
yeah,
just
it's
that
kept that
unreal.
draft, if I kept that draft, I'd probably 20K easy.
facts. Okay. I've got your team now,
Facts.
so you're gonna see. Hold on. I've got it now. Just 2 seconds.
No
There
problem.
you
That's a
go.
really cool wild card start, though. Like with Semenyo and Rodgers, two of the best value picks over the season. Oh my god, with the three best midfielders too. That's crazy. Wow, you had really good
Cool.
foresight with that team.
Okay, cool. All right.
My game week
So
1 team's gonna be amazing next season, man. Oh, I can't wait.
so just look at your game week 1 team stock. I've put it up now. You can talk about it.
Yeah,
You had
it's
Ariola,
shit.
Kwanzaa,
It's
Holland,
terrible.
Trent.
Look at that. That's horrid.
All right.
Ah,
I'll
so
just
horrible.
for the viewers, right? Someone who picked Kwanzaa, I'm sorry, they lack serious FPL skill issue. I'm sorry, that's a skill issue, right? I'm sorry, I'm gonna be harsh here, right? Lewis Hall, I mean, that's I'm not gonna. This is what I told you, Stuck. You know, Lewis Hall is one of the picks that you hyped up, and I can see why you hyped him up because you had him in your game week 1 team. So when I picked him the second half of the season, you actually told me, yo, he's actually not bad. So you and one of my other friends that were close to me, they actually hyped him up, and so I went on him early. So thank you guys for that. That gave me a massive boost. Um, Nkunku, yeah, I fell for the trap as well. So it seems like we both were a bot there. Solanke is interesting. You try to be differential. Rashford, you had Rashford just on the season.
Yeah, I had Rashford when he's at United because I looked at the fixtures and I identified that United were playing teams that deploy a high line. And
Yeah,
my thought was that Rashford would get in behind a lot and get a lot of chances, but what a bum.
yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I can see why you had to use the wild card, bro.
Exactly.
I get it. I get it now. Now it makes sense to me. I'm adding the dots. It makes sense why you wild card early. All right. So my game week 1 team, as you guys can see, 20 what's it called? 200 IQ move having Salah and Haaland draft. those are the only few handful of people actually had both of them to start the season. I think there was only like around 100 to 200k managers that had this Salah and Haaland combo to start the season. And in terms of content creators, I'm not sure who
Wait,
had
yo,
it
yo, yo, yeah, Cayman. I think emphasize that point, which is like most content creators were emphasizing one premium player, whether
exactly.
it was
Yeah,
one of Holland or one of Salah.
exactly. Yeah. So a lot of content creators were basically saying you got to pick one of Haaland or Salah. Ultimately, they were right. In the long run, they were right. But obviously, in the short term, they were wrong to start the season because obviously City were fully healthy. They were firing on all cylinders. Like they had a really good season, and they come back of that season. Obviously, Haaland is back fit and healthy, playing a promoted team at home. The narratives were there for him to do really well, right? And the captaincy switch between Salah and Haaland, the fixtures were like bouncing off really well. Like they were both playing like promoted teams one after another. So the captaincy was just really flipping back and forth. I remember going from Salah to Haaland, Haaland to Salah for the first 6 weeks, and I went to 4K in the world. That's all it took.
Wow.
Literally no chips. I just switched the captains between the two, and they're both smashing every week. Bang, bang, right?
Well, you
So
you also nailed Chris Wood as well in game week
oh
one.
yeah, sorry,
Right.
Chris Wood game week one as well, and Smith Rowe. He was good. He started the season well. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
obviously
I
Trent,
think
Gabriel, you can't go wrong with them. But go on, start. Yeah,
there's a. I would say I would be curious to see the correlation in terms of how well, like the basically a manager's end overall rank coming into the season
yeah,
in correlation to how strong their game week one team is. Because the stronger your game week one team, the
yeah.
longer you can leave your wild card.
That's true.
And I know managers who wild carded in maybe the 12s, the 13s, like Sharik, for example, and Mass.
Yeah,
They had really strong wild cards around that Christmas period,
yeah,
and it gave them a really strong like
yeah,
that part of the season. Whereas someone like me, wild cards early, it's much harder to roll transfers. Like if you start stronger, I imagine you have a better overall rank coming into the
yeah,
season. I
yeah.
wonder if
That's
there's a
true. That's
correlation
true.
there.
That's true. Facts.
Have you heard the quote? It's like you can't win FPL in the first few weeks of the season, but you can lose it.
That's true. That's true.
It's very true.
So now, Kanji, it's your time to cook. Explain to us on in terms of
Perfect.
numbers. We'll obviously me and Stock will give our thoughts on in terms of without the data and the models on what we think we can improve on. But from you doing an analysis, you've done a really good job with drafting and obviously doing your research and identified obviously what we did and what we could improve on throughout the whole season. So if you just want to touch on yourself first, yeah,
100%. Just so you know, just for background, like three of us have already met on Discord and discussed our season. So like we already know what we need to improve on, but I'm just going to present like my own, right? So I put all their teams into FPL review. I don't think Kayman or Stark use FPL review, by the way. So they don't really, their team isn't really built for, getting the most points in the model because they don't even use the model when they're making their decisions, right? So that's why some of the analysis isn't really gonna hit directly for them specifically, but it will for me because I was using it not to make my decisions, but to at least give me a guide on where I think the best paths were. I think that's like the best advantage of using review is like it's not about picking players. It's about okay, if I downgrade in a certain position, that opens up a path for me later on down the road in a few weeks' time, like getting to maybe like Palmer or getting to like a Trent or something like that when Liverpool's fixtures opened up. So that's the reason why I use review, to be honest. But when I was looking at the data of my season, I think a few things stand out, right? The first thing, if you look on the bottom right, if we look at points, so captaincy points, I'm in the bottom 6% of the entire game. That's horrendous. That's easily my biggest skill issue. My non-capacity points are fine. I had the most points on the bench, which is absolutely crazy. And if you look at my differential EV, I'm in the 98th percentile. So I do love going differential. That's mainly because I didn't have Salah for like at least 10 to 15 weeks of the season. That really hurt me. I also didn't have Holland to start the season as well. So I'm not scared to be differential. But I think one thing I need to work on is an ego thing. When I go for a differential and I go for a no solid draft and it goes wrong, I have to be able to swallow my pride, even though I've lost 50 points in the field already. I have to make sure that the hole that I put myself into isn't that big. So that's something I really want to emphasize is that going forward into next season, I want to make sure that I give more respect to the premium players, specifically for captaincy. I captained Palmer a lot and he let me down. I captained Saka a lot as well. I didn't captain Salah or Holland once. I didn't captain Holland once. I didn't captain Salah enough this year. Given that Salah is one of the best FPL picks of our last like 10 years, and he had a generational season, so he really did punish me. If you look at my relative variance, like a minus 42 shows you how unlucky I was in general. If you look at my transfers, you can see that I don't really roll. I have like I think it's an action crisis or something like that. Like it's a psychological issue. I have action bias, which is like I just feel like I'm in more control by just making one transfer every single week. That's why you'll see I love to make one transfer and I don't roll enough. I think that actually led me towards actually taking 8 hits on the season because I didn't have enough saved transfers. So I think going into next season, my two things I really want to work on is work on captaincy points, give the premiums more respect, and also try to roll a little bit more often so I can minimize the amount of hits that I've taken.
All right, so now you got stock, Kanji. Can you hear me?
Yes, me,
Yes.
yeah.
Start. Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Um, I can summarize mine objectively. I'm actually on the app, the Game Week, the history app. So game week 7, I was 15K, and then come game week 14, I was 453K, all because I transferred out Salah for Haaland. And in that moment, I mentally gave up on mm, what's the word? I wasn't strict. I wasn't. What's the word I'm looking for? I wasn't. I was just game week by game week, just trying to have fun, playing loose, more focus on my mini league rival. So hits under 5 hits next season, going for a top 1K finish, going for 38 successful captaincy picks at 38
one
goals
thing
for next
stands out to
season.
me,
To the period.
obviously, Stark, is that you took 17 hits, bro. What led you to take so many hits this season?
In the last 5 game weeks, I was ahead of my mini league rival for money. So
Okay.
that he had Saka, well, he was bringing in Saka, because I knew he was going to captain him. Game week before, he had Watkins and Rogers. I brought both of them in, also a hit. One I took
Okay.
a hit as well, another hit. I was literally bringing in players, the players he owned, because I wasn't playing for rank at that point. I was playing to win money.
Ah,
But
fair
next
enough.
season is completely different. It's completely different. I would not advocate taking that many hits. It's terrible play, and my rank reflects that. As I've said,
Ah,
it's a poor rank. Next season completely changing, and yeah, pay
yeah,
off. But
brilliant.
that many, no.
Inshallah. One thing I want to say, you've done really well with the differential this season. Like you obviously spiced your team up. You like to, you are a bit of a I'll say what's the word? Like you don't really follow the template.
Don't like
Like you don't like template
don't like
picks.
playing
You
template.
yeah,
No, I
exactly.
don't. I
So
don't go. I don't go differential for differential's sake. But I just
yeah,
don't blindly follow the template. If I feel like there's an edge somewhere, I'll take
yeah,
it. But it's all calculated. Like
yeah,
captaincy and analyze. I'm curious to go if you go to there. But obviously you're
yeah.
next, so yeah, you
Yeah,
go.
I'll go to that shortly. So, in regards to my one, Kanji, I'm not gonna look into this too much because obviously I do not understand most of it because Kanji is the data guy and whatnot. From like, if I'm just giving you from like my perspective, what I could improve on, what I went wrong. Personally, one of the biggest decision was holding Haaland too long. I think earlier in the season, like I was around 2 to 3K, I think around game week 6, and then I went down to 16 to 18 to all the way down to 50K because I held on to Haaland, and not only did I held on to Haaland, I went with him in captaincy versus Brighton and Spurs, which let me down. While Salah played Southampton and he played Villa, and where he dropped 14 points on my head twice. So that's what hurt me a lot. And then I kept Haaland up into game week 12. That was even more damaging. Instead, like where a lot of people jumped off him around game week 10, 9 ish. So if I would have maybe got rid of Haaland quicker, I would have been able to maintain my good rank through early on in the season. But again, once I dropped him off around game week 12 and I bought in Saka and captain him, my season started to back up again. So definitely a good lesson learned there. And second thing is my chips was really bad use. Like other than the TC which I used in game week 2 on Haaland, which was a success. Same with the my assistant managership. I got around 50 points on that. So that was also a success. However, from game week 30 when I wildcarded to up into game week 38, it was a downhill. Like I've only had I think 3 or 4 green arrows
Mm,
and it
yeah.
was just poor. I got a red arrow on my bench boost, I got a red arrow on my free hit, and I've got a red arrow I think on my what else on my wild card as well. So going into next season, definitely have a better chip strategy, right? Be more open minded, and obviously go my gut more. That's about it. That'll be my
Yeah, so if
analysis.
there's anyone that's like an analytical person listening to the podcast, like the analytics really didn't like Stark's team, and they actually really liked Cayman's team. So just I don't know if anyone was like following their seasons. It's just very interesting that I Cayman isn't really using any of the models, but he does make really interesting analytical picks. And I don't think Cayman cares about minutes and penalty takers as much, but I think what both Stark and Cayman really want is just players that have get points. I think that's why I really like this. Like the fact that you guys know what you're looking for, you're playing your own game, and I like that. I like working with you guys in that sense. So yeah, I do want to mention one more thing to anyone that's analytically oriented. Cayman and myself are in the top 20K for EV minutes. In fact, Cayman was in the top 5 to 10K for EV minutes, and that's without him even using a model. It's just after okay, he mentioned it, but like after he wildcarded, he was like suboptimal to the field since then because of picks like Gordon and stuff like that.
Yeah.
On the wildcard, Clivert, those
Yeah.
guys just destroyed it, right?
Yep.
And don't you
Exactly.
think? Don't I've got some bones to pick with the model. I think the model gives people a platform to make excuses and say that they've been unlucky, and then when picks that aren't necessarily favored by the model actually get the points, the model's like, oh, that's a good pick. We favor those. But the model can never be wrong. It can only ever be right, and all the best managers use the model. I think it's a very arrogant uh, tool for
So hold on
managers
a
in this
second. In
game.
Yeah.
regards to, so we had a Discord conversation with a bit of a back and forth. Like I'm not here, obviously, acting kanji at all. My problem with the model is this: the model says that I pick players that are safe, that have minutes and whatnot, right? But there are players who, like, for example, Eze and I'll give an example, Bruno Fernandes and João Pedro. I completely despise. Like with all due respect, I don't like them at all. Like throughout the whole season, I avoided them. Right? I call them bums. Semenyo, another one. Sorry, another one. Right? How can it be then a model when I'm going against the model darlings of the world? How is my team favored by models? Like I don't understand. That's something that confuses me. But
Because
again,
you got a lot. Because you got a lot of points.
yeah. Anyways, but yeah.
No,
So
but let's use an example of an asset,
yeah,
Mateta. When
yeah,
Mateta went on that run, right,
yeah.
was not a model pick. And
No, it wasn't.
analytical managers were not there. They were there for the double game weeks. Why? Because the points were coming in and
Yeah.
they were like, oh, he's on penalties. So it's
Mm.
like the model adjusts its take and then claims that he's a model pick. When if we're
Yeah.
being honest, he was not a model pick. Chris
Yeah.
Wood also was not a model pick.
He
You
was
own
not.
Chris Wood. So the data, the model's trying to claim him.
Yeah.
No, okay, that's two different points. So Chris Wood was disrespected by the model. Like they did not expect him to have as high of a conversion rate. Maybe he just had a purple patch. I don't know. So the model didn't like Chris Wood in general, but he still does have some good expected points because he plays 90 minutes and he's on pens. So like they like that aspect of him. And then the other thing about Mateta is like the pen share between Eze and Mateta was never nailed. Like it was basically a 50-50 split ended up being that Mateta was the penalty taker until he started missing, and then Eze became the more optimal pick because he ended up getting the pens.
But
So
Eze didn't become the model pick because he was getting the pens. Eze was on just hot form as well. His patch came towards the end of the season. Eze hit his patch towards the
exactly.
end of the season, and then Mateta hit it through midway through the season. It's about, do you know what I mean? It's about when you jump on them. Honestly, it's about
Yeah.
timing. It's similar to Foden. When we jumped on Foden, let's be real, Stark. He wasn't exactly a favored model pick, was he? When we went on that 6 weeks run, he got 6, 8, 15, 21, 8 something points.
Who? Who,
Foden.
Mateta or Eze?
Foden.
Foden.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
Foden obviously doesn't really take pens, and he's not exactly nailed. So I get why people wouldn't go there for like a block of fixtures. But
yeah.
it's a very like niche pick. Yeah, I just think the model's very arrogant. I think they take claim for all the good picks, and like
Yeah.
I think they adjust to
Bro,
what's good.
I've had Ahmad, I've had Foden, I've had so many picks where they were not favored by model at all. Like I was
But
anti-model.
just
Like
so just so you know, like those are actually model darlings, by the way. Like
who?
you're mentioning Foden, Ahmad, like the model loves those types of picks if the minutes are there, but the minutes are never there. That's why the model would never suggest them because like they go based off of expected minutes. But you must have owned them when they had good minutes,
But the
and
thing is,
when they have good minutes, they're good picks in the model.
no, but my team, like I've spoken with guys like that are the analytical driven guys, and I've compared my team against their team, right? I don't compare normally, but I looked at the team and I looked at my team. It's day and night, Kanji. I'll give
Yeah,
you a good example,
yeah,
right?
it's
Broccoli
uh
FC, Fran FC. I'm sorry, if you look at their team and my team, is day and night. Let's be honest here, guys. And
yeah.
they're model guys. They're
They
model.
don't.
Are they not model
Yeah,
guys?
they go for the like, bro. Those guys go for like the darling picks, like you mentioned earlier, like the Bruno Fernandes, João Pedro's of the world. Those
Yeah,
are like the darling picks in the models.
yeah,
Like you're not going to be going for those players because you don't like those players. Like
yeah,
that is
yeah.
what it is. But
I
you're still
avoided them. I
picking
got rid
good
of them. Yeah,
players.
yeah. I
Yeah,
never
you're
owned
still
Bruno.
picking.
Yeah, go on.
You may not like this is what I'm trying to say. You may not be going for the players that get the maximum points in the model. Like those types of Joao Pedro, Bruno Fernandes would get you maximum points in the model, but you're still picking good picks. Even though they're not the most optimal, like super the maximal optimal pick, you're not picking that, but you're still picking a good pick in the model. Like
I think
anyways,
they become
it's
good
not
pick
that
after the
important, but
fact, Kanji, and the model adjusts and says it's a good pick after the fact, after they scored the points, and that's my issue with it. Because yeah,
mm,
anyways,
No,
just moving on.
it's not a true reflection of what the model thinks is optimal, because the model adjusts, and then when it's all said and done, that's when they say what's good and what's not. But that's just complete
yeah,
hindsight.
Yeah.
it's true.
Anyways, on the captaincy, this is probably the favorite slide we're gonna have to talk about. I think we're gonna have fun on this one. Kanji, go ahead, man, first.
Yeah, so this is my biggest downfall of the season. Like, yo, no joke. Like, K-Man's made up almost 125 points versus me. Sark is up 75 points versus me just based on captaincy alone. If I look at it between my mini league rivals, there was like a big run from game week 8 to game week 17 where Salah was just the best player in the world. And I didn't even own him. Everybody was captaining him. I lost basically 100 captaincy points to Salah. There. So that's probably my big mistake is like not giving Salah and Holland the respect they deserve and trusting Palmer and Saka a little bit too much for captaincy. So I want to improve that going into next season.
Okay, so it says Trent Alexander-Arnold as your captaincy pick. Can you explain to us why your captain defender, bro, in FPL, bro? Like, no wonder why,
Oh man,
bro. Your captaincy
and
is
Yeah,
unsuccessful,
yeah.
bro.
Brennan
Yeah, so
Johnson.
my captain, yeah, yeah. So there's 2 weeks that they're just really like I went differentials to the field and they both let me down. It was Trent versus Forest. At that time, Trent had picked up like 3 returns and three going into like a team that I didn't think was gonna do that well. I knew Forest were gonna sit deep. I knew Salah wasn't gonna have a good day, and I backed Liverpool to get a result. I knew Trent would be needed to break down the low block, but what ended up happening is Hudson-Odoi got a goal in the counterattack, and we lost 1-0. So, oh, that was a pretty
Kanji, just
funny
say it,
moment.
bro. You were biased, bro. You were biased, bro. That's your favorite
No,
player, bro.
no,
That's it,
no.
bro.
I can't. There's that too. Okay, and I remember captaining Brennan Johnson. I think he played
Oh
Ipswich. I
God.
think Son was like a minute stout. But yeah, either way, like this is like the emphasis for me, which is like I need to be captaining more like just Premier League proven players over the season, and yeah, just try to pick up more like XG whenever I'm using my captaincy. Anyway,
All right.
yeah.
Uh, I think what I would give you feedback on that, Kanji, before I go move start goes to start. I'll just say, Kanji, just keep the captaincy simple and stick to premium. I'll just say stick to premium, bro. Just personally, like, yeah.
Facts.
Anyways, I don't know what I'll say, but you're going stock.
29, 38, and do you know who let me down? Palmer and Haaland. Fucking stick to the premiums, yeah? Their premiums are letting me down, mate. The premiums are letting me down.
Oh my days. Oh, but listen, Haaland is a fraud, man. He's a freaking fraud, bro. He's let me down too,
Oh,
bro.
mate.
Absolute bomb.
I'm trying.
Abs-
I'm actually seriously want. I actually really want to go 38 for 38. Imagine how mental that would be.
That's impossible, bro. That is
It's
impossible,
not.
bro.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, man.
Bro, inshallah, I hope you do. But then, bro, if you go 30 for 38, bro, everyone should be tuning into FPL Roundtable for captaincy alone, bro. Dead ass, bro.
I'm going. I'm going
Yeah,
38 for
literally.
38.
Nah, bro, literally, everyone should be tuning in to see who Stark is captaining every
Shoot for
week.
the stars. Shoot for the fucking stars, boys and girls.
What's your memorable captaincy, though, that
That's
you'd say you look back on Stark? Is it the Haaland captaincy game week 2, yeah?
Haaland in game week 2 was a triple captain, but Salah was the best triple captain, to be honest, in his record-breaking season. I would say my favourite captain was probably Kulusevski against Southampton. I gained a lot of points on the field that game week because Salah had Fulham, and I think he got a jammy assist, and that was it.
Yeah.
So that one was just favourite, because going against Salah and having a 1% differential and then captaining him, that dopamine hits like crack. So
Facts.
I captained Palmer against someone. He smashed it, but
Southampton.
yeah.
Southampton, was it?
No, that's a
No.
Brighton or
PTSD.
Wolves,
That was a
probably.
blank. That was a blank. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
All
I'll tell you
right.
what it was. It was
Mhm.
Palmer versus Tottenham.
Yeah.
And
Same.
Mm.
everyone and their dog was on Salah versus Everton at Goodison, right?
Yeah.
But they got life because the game got cancelled because of a bit of wind, and they all flooded to Palmer versus Tottenham.
Yeah,
And
but
in the
then you have to.
spaces on
Yeah.
X, I was saying all week, Palmer's the best captain. He's playing Tottenham. Tottenham can't defend. They're like, It's Salah, bro. It's Mo Salah. It's Mo Salah, bro.
Yeah, I know, but at the
Oh,
same
Palmer
time,
would have
Salah, when he played Everton, he still bagged the brace versus them, though, didn't he? He still got a
man, not
GA.
on a windy night
Yeah,
in
he did. He
Goodison,
did.
mate.
Look, Stock. I know
I
you
know.
wanna
It would
celebrate. I
have been
mean, look,
close.
I know you wanna
Would have been
celebrate that
close,
one.
bro.
Yeah, it would have been
Would have
close.
been
Yeah,
close. It would have been close. Who knows
yeah,
what happens, eh?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'll say, look,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
season. I think one of my most proudest moments is triple captaining Haaland when the whole community basically said that's suboptimal X, Y, and Z. Andy Martin with his narrative on X, shout out to him, he shows us love and whatnot. But yeah, triple captaining him and going against the crowd early in the season, I'm proud of myself. I mean, I pat myself on the back and I continue to do it. I don't give a shit. Yes, my single game TC, I outscored your double game week TC, so hold that. So that's my proudest moment. And that's probably what probably led me to keep Haaland for so long in my team as well, and captaining him, and try to, get that moment again, get that feeling again. You know when because that hit like crack, bro. That hat trick felt like crack, and I wanted to feel that again. And I kept on chasing that rush, and then obviously it wasn't coming. It wasn't coming, and I tried again towards the end of the season, still fumbled with Southampton, but it is what it is. Look, you live and learn. You got 30 out of 38 captaincy is actually insane. Like 79, almost 80% accuracy on captaincy. Guys, you know what to do next season, bro. You know what to come for captaincy, bro.
Yo, so I have like a few questions for you guys just to like
Yeah,
round out the season. There's like 5 different questions.
yeah.
Just the first one is like the Salah versus Holland captaincy swing in general. Like from game week around 6, 7, 8. Like at this point, I think you guys owned Holland. I don't correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure. But I think you guys started the season with Holland. You owned him for a hat trick. You guys triple captained him. He picked up 10 goals in 5 games. Like at what point did you start to feel the pressure of like selling him to downgrade and
Wait, what's the question? Sorry.
like there was a big swing in terms of Salah versus Holland, right? Cayman, you owned both. So from your perspective, it would be downgrading Holland to get to Saka. Like when did you feel the pressure to do that? And for you, it's like for Stark, it's like I think you wildcarded in game week 3, right? So you already felt the pressure in game week 4, 5, and 6 without him when he was getting a brace and a hat trick, right? So that's where you felt the pressure to put him back in into game week 9 or 10, right?
Sorry, I'm lost, bro.
All right, listen, I
Lost
think
me.
I know the question. So listen, so you basically said, when did we feel the pressure to sell Haaland for Saka or another premium, right?
Yeah, basically because like think about it from this perspective. Like Holland is on 10 goals from 5 games. He's on
Not,
track to break the Premier League record for goals in a season,
yeah.
right? So it's like it took a lot of foresight to consider selling Holland, right? I'm just curious to hear
No,
like
no, yeah,
how
yeah,
you
yeah.
guys
I
ended up.
can, I can relate to that. But listen, so for me, it came from a place of anger and frustration because I captained him twice and versus Brighton and what's it called, Spurs, when he was playing versus Davis and Draguson, right? And he blanked at home. So that's when I said it's over for me. Like, I'm selling you, and I captained him, and that's what probably led me to actually sell him because it really hurt me that week. I lost a lot of rank. I went around 50K, and I kept saying that, and that's what led me to say, yeah, I got to make a drastic decision here. My season is going down the drain. I gotta basically recoup and come back. And I basically just sold him there, and Captain Saka, I brought him in. And that was one of the toughest decisions to do. I took a mindset to take out Haaland and to bring in Saka to captain him. And the season was back on track after that, bro. But yeah, it took a lot. Like, it was mentally, it took a lot. Like, I had to like, you know what? Enough is enough. The guy's fixture is drying up, and he's not doing nothing. And he's playing United away, I think, or something like that. He was playing, or Liverpool. He was playing Liverpool away. I said this is the perfect time to sell him. So yeah.
Mm, feel about that swing,
Same.
Stark, with Holland and deciding to buy him or sell him for you?
I just think it was actually a massive skill issue, and I'm really frustrated with myself for not realizing sooner the impact that no KDB and no Rodri would have on the team, and therefore Haaland's play style is he's a spoon fed striker. He's quality in the box. He's a world class striker. I'm not taking anything away from him, but he doesn't have to do anything. He just moves in the box, taps it in. Like, needs therefore to be fed by players. So losing KDB's creativity, losing Rodri's ability to counter attack, they just were not the same team. And I think that was a big reason for why Haaland was perhaps underperforming and not getting as many big chances. So therefore, he wasn't justifying his price. And that was a skill issue for me because I actually brought him in. I didn't have him. I didn't own him from game week 3 to game week 8. So I brought him in when he had Southampton and Wolves, and that was just a big skill issue, man. And then I kept him for like 4 or 5 game weeks when Salah was still smashing it. And man, yeah, shocking decision.
All good, man. You know what? I think one thing to mention on the Salah Holland debate is like just try to keep an open mind going into next season. Audrey's going to be coming back. I'm sure they'll replace KDB in the market. I'm sure with someone. So we just try our best not to be biased and don't say Salah's an absolute lock, even though realistically he probably should be in game week 1.
Yeah, you
Another talking
absolutely.
point.
It's a great point. You can't take what happened last season into this season. This season is a fresh season, and everything is unique. And there's going to be context that we need to analyze and apply to this season and the decisions we need to make.
Facts, bro. So another observation I noticed this season is the change in BPS. They took a lot of the bonus points away from the defenders. They've nerfed them, right? So the difference between like the cheap defenders and the premium defenders is pretty small. So I'm just curious to hear like if they keep that rule the same going into next season, like how would impact the way that you build your team?
Bro, this is a long-winded, very tricky question, bro. Simplify it for us, bro.
Like okay, the defenders, like difference between Gabriel and Trent and like I don't know, an eight Nuri or Robinson, the difference is like 20 or 30 points, right? Are you still going to consider going for like two premiums at the back, or would you consider going for
I do not
one?
know. I do not know, Kanji. I don't know what will happen. We don't know the price or nothing. I cannot answer that question, bro.
No
I
worries. Do
cannot answer
you
that
have any
question.
thoughts? Do you have any thoughts on that, Stark?
We need to wait for prices, to be fair, see what's
Okay,
value.
okay, okay.
Say, I'm probably going to go one
All
premium.
right, nice. Same. Yeah, I'm definitely not good. I went, for example, my Game Week 1 team had three premium defenders. I'm no way in hell I'm doing that ever again. Like, no way. Max two, probably one. Yeah, so I wanted to ask you guys, like, if you could go back in time, what's one decision you could change about this season?
Start Munoz versus Spurs. Oh, that's gonna hold me, bro.
Mine would definitely be not bringing in Haaland for that game week 8 to like 12 run. Even if I did bring in Haaland, still keep Salah. It was a stupid decision to remove him from.
Yeah,
That's my
Yeah.
biggest mistake.
yeah. Yeah, same. My
Obviously,
my biggest
yeah.
mistake, obviously, selling Salah in game week 6 on the wild card. Yeah,
All
that's
right.
all. It is. So I have two more questions for you guys. So, let's. Who do you think is going to be one breakout attacker going into next season that you have your eye on?
Bro, we haven't got any signing confirmation yet. We need to wait for the
It's
I
okay. Just
signings.
just like just early thoughts. Like, what are your thoughts?
got
I
one.
I don't know.
Esteval for Chelsea. I
Cunha, I'll
think he's
say
going to be.
Cunha if that counts, but yeah.
Oh yeah,
Probably.
Cunha's a
No,
breakout
bro,
talent. Who's
bro.
Cunha
That
again?
that
Sorry, remind me. I don't know
Bro,
who
I
he
don't know.
is.
These questions, bro, I'm not gonna like these questions. We need to wait for next season, bro. I don't know. These are very early here. Like I have no idea who's gonna come into the league. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think my breakout attacker will be Strand Larson. I think Cunha leaving Strand Larson on penalties, I think he'd be a great pick. And then I have one more last question, which is like after an underwhelming bench boost for both of you in game week 32, would you guys consider a bench boost in game week 1 strategy?
Yes, I've locked it in.
I don't know.
Locked it in, man.
I'm sorry. I've got a lot of I don't know because context matters, bro. I'm waiting for and to see everything and to yeah. I'm not locked in on anything right now, but it's
I'm
too
locking it
early for
in.
me.
Yeah.
It's too early
I'm
for me.
locking it
Do
in.
you
I
It's too
like the
early for me.
fact that you can combine two chips into one.
It's
So
too
it's
early for me.
like a wild card and a bench boost at the same time because you're game week 1 team. So I'm going to experiment with it. Bench
Sorry,
boost.
Kanji. I'm not able to help here, but I don't have an answer, bro. It's too early for me.
No worries. No worries, no
Yeah.
worries. And then wait, one more question. There's one more like controversial one. I'm curious to hear like if you guys are agree or disagree. 5.5 goalie named David Raya. And in the first like 5 or 6 weeks of the season, he picked up a bunch of bonus points. Like it was like the most obvious play on wildcard in game week 6 to have David Raya. Do you think it's even worth spending more than 4.5 in your goalkeeper position? Or do you think maybe next season you might consider going back there?
I won't own Raya. I will have two 4.5 million goalkeepers and I'll be rotating them versus the promoted teams. And I will 100% have bench points, but I will play the fixtures. And I just think that is the best approach with goalkeepers personally.
I think if Pickford is
After having a
5 million, I think he's a lock on my team most likely. That's about it. I think he's
Mm,
the best FPL goalkeeper pick in the league. Or yeah, that's
mm.
available. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I'm just curious to hear your guys' thoughts. 'Cause I know both of us, all actually all of us have owned Raya at some point this year. and he really deceived us given the amount of bonus points he had in the first 5 weeks.
All right,
But yeah, so let's
let's.
move on to reviewing the best section of the podcast, which is the PFC, the punt, flop, and captaincy section. How did it go in game week 38, guys?
Well, I mean, I have Evan Olsen. Listen, that guy, bro, he's broken my trust. So this guy's on fraud watch. I picked him on my punt section. That was potentially to tie versus stock. If I picked a name, maybe picked a better differential, I would have probably tied stock and he wouldn't have won PFC. But unfortunately, Evan Olsen let me down. So I'll hold that against him. Pedro Porro was a lock. He was never gonna get a return versus anyone. Salah captaincy was a lock as well. No, it wasn't a lock to be honest. I was high on Saka, but Saka's minutes and whatnot, we obviously didn't convince me. So yeah, 2 for 3, unfortunately. Sad ending.
Yeah, facts. How do you feel, Stark? Your picks in 38.
Champion, man. I'm the champion. Welbeck, man, he would have got something as a flop, bro. Listen, look at that for a flop. A penalty taken talisman for a team, yeah. Why? I remember KAYMAN saying, "Why are you picking Eze for a flop, bro? I wouldn't do that. That's risky, bro. What? I don't get that one. What now? Flopped. Really?
Hey, this guy, bro.
That's crazy, bro. Yeah, fam. I actually ended up going with Semenyo myself. I had him in my team just waiting for game week 38, and he delivered massively with a 16-pointer. Shout out to, I think, FPL Ryan. I think he captained him. I think the guy that won FPL last year, as well as Ben Crellin, actually transferred Semenyo in this week. Those guys must have some crazy juice. But happy that I got the punt. My flop for Chris Wood, I knew that I could back Chelsea to pick up results on the final day. Wood had some big chances, but he just didn't deliver. Maybe the XG's finally catching up to him. And then Salah captaincy, I mean, that was a lock. There's no way that was gonna miss on the final day.
So the final tally, Kanji, me and you were tied 52 point each. Stock won by 1 point. A round of applause in the chat, guys, for Stock. Congratulations to the PFC King. Currently, he does have the throne.
KFC King.
P-
Comment in the chat whose celebration this was back in the day. If you know,
Hey,
you know.
shout out to Stock, bro. The second place, third place. I guess Kanji and me were both gonna hold that L. And yeah, look,
Facts.
all I'm gonna say is there were definitely some dodgy things going on throughout the season, and the creator of PFC, aka Stark Ball, did change rule to suit his agenda, and yeah, he did bend at the end towards the end. He started to take my rotation, Pedro Porro and JP on rotation, So I'm proud that at least he folded and he was nervous. So at least I was able to push him at the end of the day. So I was proud about that one.
Yes.
So yeah.
Bateman knows Nicholas and Elka.
And the last section, the mini league champion for FPL Twitter Spaces is none other than guys. Let me hear the name, man. Come on, guys. Let's hear the name. Let's get the name, guys. Let's get the name. Come on. Where is my flowers? Where's my flowers now? Come on. FPL Twitter Spaces league. Come on. Who won the league, man? Someone remind me. I can't remember. Who won the league? I don't know. I
Who
forgot.
cares about the league, man? No one
Oh,
cares
now
about
who
that.
cares?
No,
Now
no,
who
no.
cares?
Listen. All jokes aside, congratulations, amazing finish, KAYMAN. I just want to say we'll have a mini league next season, by the way, and we will, if we all agree, give out. It'll be free to enter, of course, and
Yeah.
there will be a prize for the winner, maybe a jersey, something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
The
for
winner.
jersey, something like that for the winner. And to be honest, the only eligibility you need probably to subscribe to Roundtable, follow us on X, and just be part of the community. That's all about it, to be honest. And yeah, should be open for
Yeah,
everyone.
you know what? I think this is like the perfect time to just say thanks to like the people that have like followed us, people that have liked, commented, subscribed on our content. Just thank you so much for all your support. We actually passed 200 subscribers in our first season, which is crazy because like we have a 90-minute podcast like once a week that people are still taking value from. It's such a like overloaded like area of like FPL like where there's like so much FPL content, but people still take the time out of their days to listen to us. So thank you so much. And I want to say thank you to you, Cayman, and to Stark. Thank you so much I was such a pleasure to meet you guys this year. I met you guys in like game week 5. We started the podcast. Like we just like our vibe has just we're kind of like brothers now. So I'm just really glad and thankful that we've met.
Bro, if likewise, honestly, meeting you guys, I mean, we met in like around game week 2 on the space. And I don't know what it is, something between you guys when I spoke to you guys, it just clicked and I knew it was time for us to maybe do something. and we talked on the on X and said, yeah, I think we should probably do a pod, because the conversations we're having on X were really good, especially in the spaces. And I've realized that you guys know what you guys are talking about, and you have really good ball knowledge, and you both complement one another in terms of Kanji. You're very analytical, and you come from that background. You have very good knowledge with data and whatnot. And with Stark, obviously, you are very tactical. You know your stuff when it comes to watching football and knowing football and understanding it. And for me, it's just also similar to Stark. I think Stark does look at data, but not as heavily as Kanji. Whereas me, I'm just strictly just watching the game and just making a decision. Whereas Stark does appreciate the data to some extent as well, and obviously he also relies on his eye test to play this game. And ultimately, you get the best of all the worlds, guys. As I said always. So continue to show us love, continue to show us support, and we'll try to put the best content out next season, God willing, inshallah.
Gonna finish first in that mini league next season, boys. So I'm gonna be getting the jersey. There's no point you boys joining, yeah. It's gonna be me. I'm finishing.
This guy
I'm
killed
number
me.
one. I'm number one next season. It's my redemption.
Now Stark is on redemption season next season, bro. Nah.
Yo, I was actually thinking like maybe next year we could have like a friendly bet, like $100 to a charity of our choice. Like whoever wins between the three of us, we'd pick a charity, and whoever wins, we'd have to donate $100 to their charity. I was thinking about that between us three next season.
Charity stuff is fine for me. I don't mind, but obviously I don't really do betting and whatnot. I don't want to promote that as well, to be honest with you, Kanji. But yeah.
Right, exactly,
So yeah. We'll keep that amongst ourselves. We'll do whatever we do with that amongst ourselves. But ultimately, we can do giveaways like shirts and things like that. So, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. All right, thank you so much for all the support, boys.
Yep. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Shout out to Bateman. Shout out to Server Banks, Napstars. Who else we got? Cortex. Shout out to everyone for tuning in. Thank you guys for showing us love throughout the whole season, and we'll see you guys when, Kanji. Probably.
I think the right time, probably when fixtures get released, which is only in like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So we'll
Yeah.
be back
So
in a few weeks' time. But it's nice
yeah.
to take a few weeks to just relax and
Exactly. Yeah. Enjoy the
enjoy.
break, and we'll be back, boys. Continue to show us love. And
My
do not
final
say stop.
words. My final words are, fuck review.
And with that,